Hello, how's it going? So I'm going to be answering the question of forming a class with setters and getters. So let's have a look at the code here. So the first thing you want to do here is create a class called patient, right? The first letter in this class naming is going to be capital. Then you're going to create a constructor. How you create a constructor in Python using the init method. So you have here two underscores. They're called a dunder. So you have a dunder init, dunder, and then self, because you want to specify that every object is unique, and it wouldn't work without it anyway. And then you set all the attributes. So you have name, you have age, you have symptom, and you have diagnosis. Name is going to be string, and age is going to be an integer value, and all the others are going to be string as well. So you give it the option to initialize it with name, age, symptom, and diagnosis. But let's say you want to change diagnosis, or you, at the time of creating the object, you did not add diagnosis. Then what you want to do is you want to create something called a setter. A setter is a method, a type of method that sets the value of the attributes in the class that you have in front of you, or in the object created. So we're going to create a setter for each one of those attributes. We're going to create a setter for name, a setter for age, and symptom, and diagnosis. Okay, so here we have an example of a setter. All you have to do is basically take self dot whatever attribute that you need and equal it to the value that is inputted into this method. So here we have a method called set name, and it takes one input name, which is of type string, and it puts it as the value of the current object. You do the same process over and over again for all the other available attributes. It's going to be a lot of copy and pasting, but you get the idea. So now, once we're done with setting the methods, we're going to make something called getter. The whole idea of getter is basically getting the value, a specific value of the attributes in an object. So let's say I want to know for patient one, what was his name? So I'm going to create a getter method called get underscore name. What it's going to do is simply going to return back to you the name of that person. Same thing with age. As you can see, there's a lot of copy and pasting here in the logic, at least. So you get symptom, self.symptom. Get diagnostics, self.diagnostics. At the end, this is where I recommend you do. You make something like a report function. It's called rep. So dunder rep under dunder. What you do here is basically summarize everything in that object. It's basically, think of it as your print statement, as the statement that prints out everything that has to do with that patient. So let's have a look at how that would work. If you look here on the left side, you'll see that the name here for the object number one is Abu, 37, fever, cough, COVID, and it almost seems like it's a report. Now let's go back here and let's actually initialize that patient. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to get the patient class and instantiate an object called patient1 using that class. In that class, we're going to use the init method by default by setting all the values over here. Once that's done, patient1 is now the object that has all these different attributes. So his name is Abu, he's 37 years old, fever and cough is the symptoms, and the actual disease is COVID. Now, when you print using the represent method, this is what's going to show up. We do the same thing for the next person, but we leave out the diagnosis intentionally. So we can set it using the setter method. So patient2.set underscore diagnosis, arthritis. Finally, you print it out and you see all the results. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.